Good afternoon and welcome back to Girded with Truth. Thank you so much for joining us today as we continue in revival time. Today we're talking about passion. Why am I talking about passion? Passion is actually the second P. Yesterday we spoke about the bones coming together, but today we're talking about passion. What part of Ezekiel talks about passion? Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 8 says, "And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them." So I'm going to take that first word, sinews, that is mentioned, because when I was speaking with the Lord, He said the sinews represent the passion of His people. What exactly is passion? Passion is that strong and barely controllable emotion that you have. It is what fuels your drive to get you into any given thing or to go towards any given situation, to grab hold of what you have put in front of you to say that you are going towards this thing. And as we speak about revival, and everyone has the opportunity for the Spirit of God to be poured out upon them, God said in the midst of it, He has already reserved a remnant. 2 Kings chapter 19 verses 30 to 31 speaks about this remnant, and it says, "And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Judah shall yet again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of the Lord of hosts shall do this." So God said in the midst of it, things are looking gloomy. Things are looking like if God may not be present. But God is saying, don't worry about it. I already have my remnant preserved. And if we watch all around the world, not just Trinidad and Tobago, we are seeing people rising up. We are seeing prophets rising up. We are seeing leaders rising up. We are seeing people, the remnant that God has preserved, rising up to do His will, to do His work. We are seeing revival all over the world. And when it says the zeal of the Lord of hosts shall perform it, the zeal really talks about the jealousy God has for His people, not against His people, but for His people. It's that drive that He has to make sure that the things that He has promised over His people is performed. It's the thing that fuels that drive that He has to accomplish His word in their life, to make sure that they live in the will of God. And it is this same drive that Jesus would have had when He came to the earth to accomplish the will of God. The word passion is actually mentioned once in the King James Version of the Bible. And that one time it's mentioned in Acts chapter 1 verse 3. But I'm going to read verses 3 and 4 just to bring about a little bit of context. And it says, "To whom also He showed Himself alive after His passion by many infallible proofs, being seen of them 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of God. And being assembled together with them, commanded them that they should not depart from Jerusalem, but wait for the promise of the Father, which saith He, Ye have heard of me." So it talks about here Jesus showing Himself to His disciples. He is revealing Himself after He has been crucified, after His passion, His zeal to perform this task, accomplish this purpose. It is done. He said it was finished. And He has come after His passion, which means after He had suffered a while, after He had this desire inside of Him, this passion inside of Him to accomplish the will of God. That uncontrollable or barely controllable emotion He had that gave Him the desire to go to the cross. He had come back after this passion. So it is after this passion we are picking up where Jesus now has come with the infallible proofs. He has come with the pierced side. He has come with the nail-scarred hands. He has come with proof to say he was crucified and now is resurrected. He has been revived, which means to make alive again. So he has come to the disciples again after they have watched him being crucified. And a lot of times we have to be crucified. We have to crucify our flesh. We have to submit. We have to surrender to the will of God, to the plan of God, to everything that God has for us. But when we have suffered, when we have waited, when we have submitted to the mission that God has for us to accomplish, we will return with infallible proofs. And when we return with infallible proofs, we will begin to enact change in the earth. We will begin to be part of this revival time. This revival that we speak of, God's Spirit falling upon all flesh, we will be counted in that remnant. We will be part of the remnant that continues to go forth in the earth, work miracles, signs, and wonders, and change lives for the honor and glory of God. We know one person at least that had this zeal, this passion when coming to the things of God. And it is David, the servant of God, the king, the priest, the branch that would spring forth out of the root of Jesse. David had this passion for the things of God. 1 Samuel chapter 17 verses 25 and 26 says, "And the men of Israel said, Have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come? And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel." So this is Goliath they are speaking about. "And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, What shall be done to the man that killed this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living God?" Now, if you know this account, David just went to bring lunch to his brothers. He did not go in it for the fight. He did not desire to be part of this battle. But when he got there, and he realized the people were afraid of Goliath, and he realized that they were just waiting for somebody who would fight, he came out and he said, "Is there not a cause?" He came out and he said, "Who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should dare to stand against the armies of the living God?" David did not fear this Goliath. He did not fear this giant, but instead, the passion, the uncontrollable desire that was inside of David came forth and launched him out into destiny. David did not know how he was going to defeat Goliath, because when we look further into the account, King Saul tried putting his armor on him and it didn't work, so he had to take it off, and he just went and get these stones. He did not have this thing planned out or mapped out, but he knew that that passion that arose in him was of God, and he stood and he defended God in the earth. He stood knowing that he did not have it all worked out, but he said, "No, my passion says that this is not right. My passion will come forth, and through God will get this thing accomplished." David's passion is what brought him into the battle, and you and I have a passion. Yes, things may have happened, things may have seemed bad. I'm not saying there will not be another pandemic. I'm not saying you will never struggle again. That is part of life. But God is saying He's ready to resurrect and revive your passion, the drive that you once had to go after the thing that He said, to go after your purpose, to go after what He has placed within you, the things He has promised us. That passion, God is ready to revive in us. And we might be weary, we might be in a weary place, we might think, can this happen? Just as God asked Ezekiel, can these bones live? Can this passion be revived? The answer to that is yes. God is ready to revive it, and that passion will come forth and birth your destiny, your promise that God has spoken to you about. So do not be dismayed. Do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. God is ready to revive that passion in you. It is revival time, and God is going to bring it to pass. Have faith and wait on God. Wait on the Spirit. Wait on Him to pour out His Spirit upon you, because He's ready to revive your passion. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.